After the events of the first movie, Paul Atreides has to go through some dangerous trials in order to be accepted as one of the Fremen before he can go and take the fight to the Harkonnens. All the while avoiding the prophecies being foretold and having visions that he is still experiencing. This is my uneducated opinion on Dune. Just like the first movie, this is a lot. This is a lot of movie. But Denis Villeneuve has expertly handled the making of it, and just getting a couple of things right out of the way because it's somewhat similar to the first movie. The visuals, the musicals, the sound designs and editing are just phenomenal. It's because they've obviously just kept on having the same people that have produced some of those things, like Greg Fraser as the cinematographer and Hans Zimmer doing the music. There is many incredible and stunning moments within this movie, and some of the scenes I just wanted to focus on that really stood out to me. One of them was the gladiatorial setting that is happening with the Harkonnens, and also you have a lot of these sandworm riding happening. It just showcases the scale of things and a lot of really important events that happen during the movie towards the characters. All of the battle sequences are done incredibly well on multiple different levels, where you have large battle sequences going on to show the scaling of events happening with the sandworms against armies, and then you also have the more individual battles that are very well choreographed. They are incredibly brutal. They keep you guessing about what the outcome is going to be because they are not completely predictable, and they're not drawn out. Some of the smaller fights are very quick and over within a minute, and it is just incredibly well paced with the larger battle scales because it doesn't feel drawn out or just overstaying its welcome. However, just like with the first movie, there is a lot of usage when it comes to the force field technology used within the big battles and the smaller conflicts. And there are some scenes which does focus on them a little bit, and it starts making me think back to my previous problems with the first one where they feel just kinda redundant and useless. The benefits of seeing this movie on a big screen within a cinema is not only because you get the incredible sound design and music from the surround sound, but more so in the darker scenes, you get to see every single detail and you are still in awe of the spectacle that you're seeing. However, it is a little bit jarring, and it kind of fucked me up when it went from a really dark scene to a really bright scene, and it started blindingly when the sunlight started reflecting on every single grain of sand in the desert. Trying to keep this spoiler free as much as possible, but just in case you are wanting to see this movie, there may be some things that I might be implying towards in certain events or giving off very, very minor spoilers. So, minor spoiler warning, I do apologize, but I've got to talk about this. In many ways, that this movie, okay, bear with me here, it reminds me a bit of The Godfather and The Joker. Again, please bear with me, there's a reason for this. You can see why certain events that has happened in the past have started shaping the characters into who they are as the story progresses, and you can see that the actions that they are about to commit are completely reasonable as you see it from their point of view, but because you care about the characters so much, you kind of hold on to that little bit of hope that it doesn't come to those more detrimental conclusions. It's really well done, and I appreciate that so much about this movie. However, when we are witnessing a lot of these scenes unfold, and they have a sort of sinister aspect to them, a lot of them unfold in a way that it does make you have a little bit of a smile on your face, and it is incredibly satisfying to see a lot of these characters get their comeuppance. Now, what I might have described may be present in many, many great movies, but those two that I mentioned that it reminded me of are the ones that popped into my head as I was watching this movie. The use of the voice is very well utilized within this movie, I feel, just like with the first one, and I can see why a lot of people might initially start thinking, oh, why don't they just use it every 5 seconds to get what they want or to end up winning a fight? Because it seems like that ability that is incredibly overpowered. But I feel as though the way this story progresses is that it doesn't really give those opportunities too much where they could just easily use it. And with this story being so heavily set within honor, it doesn't overuse the ability to make it feel cheap or just a plot point just to make things happen out the blue. And the way they use the ability so sparingly, it does sort of come across as a bad omen for when it is used, or as you would say, an unforgivable curse, because essentially it's a catalyst to make some of the characters go down certain paths. The cast is incredible, obviously including those that was involved within the previous movie, and those new additions certainly shine when their characters are given the opportunity to do so. They include the likes of Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Josh Brolin, Austin Butler, Florence Pugh, Dave Bautista, Christopher Walken, Stellan Skarsgård, Charlotte Rampling, and Javier Bardem. Now, with Austin Butler being a really good addition, he plays this sociopathic Fade Hurricane. He comes across as this fucking animal who has been kept on a leash, but when he is finally freed, he will take no hesitation just to murder anyone if he feels like it, or if he just ends up becoming bored in any situation. Zendaya, who doesn't have more screen time in the trailers compared to the movie this time, she gives a really good performance, and the chemistry that she has with Timothée Chalamet, it certainly sells the romance. And she isn't just this pretty woman who is just there as a love interest. She has her goals, which are clearly set with helping her people first and foremost. Speaking of Timothée Chalamet, he is incredible in this movie. I do really love the journey that he takes throughout, and he is such a strong presence within the movie, which is kind of obvious when you are the protagonist of it. But he does sell a lot of moments within the movie where you feel triumphant and very prideful towards him when he starts achieving the goals in the trials on becoming a Fremen. He is starting to develop into a really big leader as he is dealing with a certain amount of pressure thrusted onto him, and also the weight of the prophecies coming true when he starts taking actions when helping the survival of the Fremen. For me, the standout of this entire movie has got to be Javier Bardem. He didn't have a lot to do in the first movie, but him playing the character of Stilgar, who is a believer of the Lisan al-Gaib, which reminds me a lot of the scenes in The Life of Brian.
I'm not the Messiah. Will you please listen? I am not the Messiah. Do you understand? Honestly.
Only the true Messiah denies his divinity.
What? Well, what sort of chance does that give me? All right, I am the Messiah. He is the Messiah.
But it's not played in the way of, oh, let's just be comedic all the time and funny. He is a character who is so true and strong-willed within his beliefs towards the prophecies. And initially it does come across as that, oh, just look at this silly guy and all the crap that he believes is, when there is a little bit of conflict between the Southerners and the Northerners of the Freemen. It is a really good community built up because it does have that sense of divide. It's just not everyone believes in the same thing. Christopher Walken, I completely forgot was actually in this movie, and it took me aback slightly when I first saw him in the scene. I was completely expecting him to come out and start saying, "Wow, this Mudaib is very big problem, whoopee-do." Yeah, that's my terrible Christopher Walken impression. You're welcome. But in all seriousness, he's not in the movie that much at all, but for what his character does, it's effective enough. I don't know exactly how to describe this, hopefully I will be able to do it somewhat effectively, but I really do appreciate it when a movie emphasizes a lot on the journeys taken within the characters or the events unfolding within a time period. For example, when you are watching a movie, you finish doing it, and then you look back at where the characters were at the start, and it just makes you think to yourself, holy shit, dude, you have been through the ringer. We've experienced so much as if I've grown as a person myself. It's incredible to think so much has happened from where we were at the start of the movie. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. It's obviously to say now, but you'd be surprised how many movies just don't have that feeling in it. Obviously the likes of Lord of the Rings have that incredibly well done, but then there's other movies I can't think off the top of my head where the movie passes, but none of the characters seems as though they've changed that much. They might as well just be the same person. It's just, oh, it's just another day at the office. It doesn't feel as though we've accomplished anything, or we've been on this vast journey of character progression. Like I mentioned before, I've not read the books, and I don't really know what to expect when coming into this movie for the first time. So again, I don't know what changes they've made, whether some things have been brushed aside and not really added it in, or if there's been some characterizations or plot points that are completely blasphemous compared to the books. But from what I've seen in the movie, it's completely well worth the watch. It is incredible in almost every aspect. So approximately the budget of this movie was about $190 million, and at the time of recording, I think this movie has just surpassed $700 million. That is incredible. I'm so happy that this movie was finally able to get a wider audience and loads more people are starting to come and see what this franchise has to offer. So just like with any other uneducated opinion video that I've done, let's go and watch the trailer so we can see if it's any good and if it starts spoiling some things and if it's interesting enough to go and watch it. Okay, so that trailer is actually really, really well done. The only problem I would say I have with it, though, is unfortunately it gives away the entire sequence where Paul Atreides goes and rides the Sandworm for the first time. When I saw it the other day, I completely forgot about the trailer, so forgot they even included that entire sequence. So seeing it on screen for the first time, it was incredible and just chilling, really. It gave you that such a awe and spectacle about it. But I guess it probably would still give you that same feeling if you were to go watch it and knowing that sequence happens anyway. That's probably the mark of a really good movie. But I think that's about it. Thank you everybody so much for watching another Uneducated Opinion video. If you'd like to give it a like, if you didn't give it a dislike, comment down below. What did you think of the movie? Let's talk about it. What did you like? What did you didn't like? Give me constructive feedback on what I could do better for more Uneducated Opinion videos in the future. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, share around with your friends and family if you think they'd enjoy this sort of content. If you want to see more of me, I try to, as much as possible, stream on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Rizikins. I play a bunch of games. I play games with my girlfriend Jem and my good friend Sir Razzie. We go around together playing games and hopefully we can see you there. Alright, thank you very much. Until the next Uneducated Opinion video, we'll see you then. Take care.